The $7,000 secret they hid from me. At a family dinner, my millionaire grandfather hugged me and said, "Grandson, hope you're enjoying your $7,000 a month allowance." Shocked, I revealed I'd never seen a cent, because every transfer had secretly gone to my sister for years. But when the bank called me at 9:14 p.m., what they uncovered would turn my entire family upside down. The dining room smelled of roasted chicken and aged wine, the kind of aroma that made you nostalgic for simpler times. If only the simplicity were real. Crystal glasses clinked softly, murmurs of polite conversation floating over the polished oak table. My family had gathered, as they often did, for one of those orchestrated Sunday dinners where appearances mattered more than feelings. I sat quietly at the far end, trying not to notice the subtle glances my sister cast my way, or the small smirk my cousin wore, the one that always suggested they knew something I didn't. My grandfather, the patriarch of our family and a man whose wealth and influence had always intimidated me, suddenly stood up. He tapped his glass lightly. "Family," he said, voice steady and commanding. "I want to say a few words before we dig in." Everyone hushed. I could feel the tension in the room thickening. He turned to me, his piercing blue eyes locking on mine. "Grandson," he said warmly, stepping forward to embrace me. "Hope you're enjoying your $7,000 a month allowance." Time froze. I pulled back, confusion and disbelief painting my face. "Grandfather, what?" My voice faltered. "I'm working 3 jobs. I've never seen a single cent from you." The room fell silent, the air heavy with the weight of unspoken truths. My grandmother's hand went to her mouth, eyes wide with shock. My parents exchanged a quick, awkward glance, the kind that screamed of secrets they had silently carried for years. I didn't wait. I grabbed my phone and pulled up my bank statements, my heart pounding so violently I thought it might burst. "Look," I said, thrusting the screen toward my family. "Every transfer since 2019 redirected to my sister. Every single month. $7,000. Each month." The room went still, a deafening silence taking over. My sister's face shifted from smug satisfaction to nervous confusion, her fork trembling in her hand. "Anna," my mother whispered, barely audible. I could feel my grandfather's posture stiffen, the warmth in his hug vanishing like smoke. "It's not what you think," he said slowly, but his usual confidence seemed rattled. Before anyone could respond, my phone buzzed. I looked at the screen. 9:14 p.m. The bank was calling. I took a deep breath, answering the call, my voice steady despite the storm of emotions inside me. "Hello." The words on the other end of the line made my stomach drop. "Sir, we've traced a recent incoming wire, and it was flagged. There's been a transfer from an account in your name." I glanced around the table. The expressions on their faces mirrored my rising panic, confusion, and anger. What the bank was about to tell me would change everything I thought I knew about my family, my inheritance, and myself. The room waited, suspended in a tension so thick it could almost be cut with a knife. And I realized, for the first time in my life, I wasn't just fighting for money. I was fighting for the truth. I gripped my phone tighter, my knuckles white. The voice on the other end was calm, almost too calm. "Sir, the transfer we flagged," the bank officer continued, "was sent today from an account that, according to our records, is under your name. But it appears to be intended for an unknown recipient. Before we proceed, we need confirmation that you authorized this transfer." I froze. My pulse raced. I didn't authorize anything," I said. "Exactly," the officer replied. "That's why we called immediately. The funds haven't been withdrawn yet, but it's significant. Almost $100,000 is at risk." I could feel all eyes on me, every family member suddenly alert, faces pale. My sister's expression flickered, her confident mask cracking for the first time. "What funds?" my grandfather asked, his voice sharp, almost defensive. "What are you talking about?" I swallowed hard. "The transfers. All those allowances you said I was getting. They've been redirected to Anna for years. And now the bank says there's a wire today that was supposed to come to me, but someone tried to reroute it again." My sister's fork clattered onto her plate. I don't know what you're saying," she stammered, her voice shaky. "Don't lie," I said, my voice rising. "I have the statements. Every single transaction. Every month since 2019. And today, the bank flagged a wire transfer trying to leave my account without my permission." My grandfather ran his hand over his face, the facade of control slipping. This is complicated," he muttered, avoiding my gaze. "Complicated," I echoed, disbelief thick in my voice. You made it seem like I was receiving $7,000 every month. I trusted you. And all this time, my sister. I couldn't finish, anger choking me. My mother tried to intervene. Calm down. Let's hear him out. No, I snapped. No more calm. I've been working 3 jobs, scraping by, while my sister lived off what was supposed to be mine. And now this transfer attempt. I looked at my phone, heart pounding. The bank said if I hadn't answered, the money would have gone to someone else entirely. Someone we don't know. Silence fell again, heavier than before. My grandfather's jaw tightened. I thought I was protecting you both, he said finally, voice low. Protecting me? I laughed bitterly. By stealing my money? By making me struggle while my sister enjoyed my inheritance? My sister's eyes welled up with tears, but I could see fear behind them, not regret. I didn't. You did, I interrupted. You've been complicit since day one. And now the bank, they caught something today that even you can't explain away. The phone buzzed again. I glanced at it. Another alert from the bank. I'll need you to come in immediately, the officer said. We have to verify your identity and freeze the account to prevent any fraudulent activity. I hung up, hands shaking. The room was dead silent. Looks like your $7,000 a month allowance story just caught up with us, my grandfather muttered, voice almost a whisper. I stared at him, my mind racing. This wasn't just about money anymore. It was about trust, betrayal, and the darkest secrets of a family I thought I knew. And somewhere deep down, I realized this dinner would change everything. Because tonight, nothing would ever be the same. The room still felt frozen, as if time itself had paused, waiting for someone to speak. I could feel the heat of anger boiling in my chest, a storm I could no longer contain. My sister sat there, silent now, clutching her napkin, her face pale. I want answers, I said, my voice cutting through the silence. Why did you do it, Anna? Why take money that wasn't yours? She flinched. I didn't know, she whispered. Grandfather set it up. He said it was for family management, that it would be better if I handled it. My grandfather's hand shot out, but I held up my hand to stop him. You lied to me. You let me struggle, juggling 3 jobs, barely paying rent, while this money that was supposed to be mine, was siphoned away. Tears streamed down her face. I thought I was helping. I didn't want you to fight with Grandpa. Helping, I repeated incredulously. By living off my earnings? By hiding what was rightfully mine? Grandfather's face had hardened into an unreadable mask. I did it to protect both of you, he said quietly. Your father, your mother, they're not always careful with money. I thought if I directed it to Anna, she could manage it, keep it safe. I shook my head, disbelief mixing with fury. Safe for whom? Safe for her? Or safe for me? My mother tried to calm me, placing a hand on my arm. It wasn't supposed to hurt you. It was. Don't. I interrupted. I don't want excuses. I want the truth. I glanced down at my phone again. The bank had already begun freezing the account, ensuring no more transfers could slip through. But the sense of violation was far worse than any financial loss. Grandfather, I said, voice tight. You told me I had a $7,000 allowance every month. That trust, that belief in you, it's gone. And Anna, I turned to her. You took advantage of it. For years. Do you understand what that feels like? Her eyes widened. I'm sorry. I really am. I didn't know it would hurt this much. I swallowed hard, trying to control my shaking hands. You think money can't hurt? It can. Especially when it's stolen from the one person you're supposed to protect. And now, I looked at the frozen expressions around the table. The bank has flagged a transfer today, one that would have gone completely to someone else. Someone who isn't even family. If I hadn't answered, it would have been gone forever. Grandfather's hands clenched on the table. I didn't know anyone would try to misuse it. You didn't know, I echoed. But you also didn't care that I was suffering, that I've been working non-stop, thinking I was responsible for myself, while the truth was hidden in plain sight. Anna sobbed quietly, her fork forgotten. My parents exchanged a tense look, guilt written all over their faces. And now, I said, taking a deep breath, I'm going to make sure the truth is out. No more lies. No more stolen money. And I'm going to find out who tried to steal from me today, because whoever it is, they won't get away. The room fell silent again, heavier than before. But this silence was different. It wasn't just shock anymore. It was the kind of silence that precedes a storm. And I knew, without a doubt, that the next moves would change my family forever. After the confrontation, I couldn't sleep. My mind raced, replaying every detail of the dinner, every suspicious glance, every whispered excuse. But one thing was clear. Someone had tried to steal from my account tonight. And that meant the problem wasn't just family deception. It was active, immediate danger. I called the bank first thing the next morning, demanding a full report. I need every detail, I said. Every IP address, every account that interacted with my money. I want to know who tried this and why. The bank representative hesitated but complied. Sir, we can provide you with the full trace, but I must warn you, it may involve sensitive personal data. Do it, I snapped. I don't care about sensitivity. I care about the fact that someone tried to steal from me, and I want them found. Hours passed as I pored over spreadsheets, tracking transaction IDs, timestamps, and device fingerprints. My heart sank as patterns emerged. Every rerouted allowance transfer had gone through a single intermediary account, one I had never authorized or even heard of. And today's flagged wire? The destination was shockingly close to home. I froze. It wasn't just an anonymous hacker. Someone had intimate knowledge of our family finances. Someone who could predict, anticipate, and manipulate transfers without anyone noticing for years. I dialed my grandfather's number. "We need to talk," I said before he could speak. He answered with a quiet, measured tone. "I imagine we do. Who else knows about these transfers?" I asked. "Other than you and Anna?" He hesitated. "No one. Just us. I swear." "Then how did someone know to redirect the wire today?" I demanded. "It was supposed to go to me. Someone tried to intercept it. Someone has access." He was silent. Then finally, there may be someone else in the bank. Someone who, well, I didn't think it would be a problem. It was just meant to be managed internally. I slammed my hand on the table. Internal? Internal. You mean one of the bank employees has been playing with my money for years? He looked away. I trusted them to help manage the transfers safely. I didn't think. "I'll handle it," I said, voice low but steady. "But I need full access to everything, and I need it today. No excuses. No delays." Later that afternoon, the bank called me back. They had traced the IP of the attempted fraudulent transfer. It originated from a residential address just a few blocks from my own. My pulse quickened. Someone close, someone familiar, had tried to intercept the money today. I grabbed my car keys and drove over, my mind racing with every possibility. Who in my circle could have such knowledge? Who had the audacity to steal from me in my own city? The closer I got to the address, the more my stomach twisted with unease. I parked a block away and walked carefully, trying not to draw attention. The house was quiet, unassuming. Inside, someone was about to realize that their plan had been exposed. I raised my hand to knock when a voice behind me froze me in place. "You're too late." I spun around. Standing there, calm and almost smug, was my cousin, someone I had trusted, someone I had laughed and shared holidays with. "What do you mean?" I asked, heart pounding. "I knew you'd eventually figure it out," he said, smirking. "But tonight, I had to see if you'd bite the bait. You took the statement straight to the dinner table, didn't you? Every family secret spilling out." I clenched my fists. "You tried to steal from me. After all these years, after everything?" He shrugged. "Money makes people predictable. I knew exactly where it was supposed to go. I just redirected it for a bit of fun. Until someone noticed, of course." My blood ran cold. Not only had my family betrayed me, but someone so close had played with my finances like a game. A dangerous, reckless game. The next steps were clear. I had to uncover the full scope of the scheme, protect my inheritance, and confront everyone who had lied, stolen, or manipulated me. Tonight, I realized that my family dinner wasn't just about a meal. It was the starting point of a war I never saw coming. That night, I gathered my courage and returned home, my mind racing with everything I had discovered. The statements, the bank call, my sister's betrayal, and now my cousin's audacity. It was a tangled web of lies, greed, and manipulation. I knew I couldn't stay silent any longer. I called the family together in the living room, my phone still displaying the flagged transfers, every account detail glaring at me like evidence in a courtroom. "Everyone sit down," I said, voice steady cold. "Tonight, we're going to have the truth. No excuses, no distractions, no lies." They shuffled reluctantly, the tension thick enough to taste. My grandfather avoided eye contact, Anna fidgeted nervously, and my parents sat rigid, glancing between us as if we were all about to implode. I turned to my cousin. "Start with you. Explain exactly why you tried to steal from me today." He laughed nervously. It wasn't supposed to be serious. I just wanted to test the system, see if anyone noticed." "Test the system?" I repeated, disbelief sharp in my voice. "You're talking about $100,000, my money." Money that was taken from me for years. You call that a test? He shrugged again, looking almost apologetic. I didn't think you'd find out so quickly. It was supposed to be temporary. I just wanted a little thrill. A thrill. That's what he called it. I felt a surge of anger, my hands trembling. You risked everything. My work, my life, the trust one had in this family. Just for a thrill? Do you understand the consequences? He swallowed hard. I didn't think it would get this far. I'm sorry. I turned to my sister. And you? How much of this did you know? How long were you complicit? Tears streamed down her face. Since 2019, I knew about the allowances being redirected. Grandpa asked me to manage them. I didn't think it would hurt anyone. I thought I was protecting you. Protecting me? I spat. You let me struggle while living off my money. That's your idea of protection? Grandfather finally spoke. I did it to prevent conflict. To manage the inheritance responsibly. Responsibly? I laughed bitterly. You called it responsibility while robbing me, manipulating us, and allowing this cousin of mine to play with my money like a game? The room was silent, everyone absorbing the gravity of the betrayal. My parents exchanged a guilty glance, my cousin shifted uncomfortably, and my sister sobbed quietly. I looked at them all, my chest tight. I trusted this family. I worked my fingers to the bone, believing I was earning my living, only to discover that everything was being stolen from me. And today someone tried to finish what you started. Grandfather sighed, shoulders slumping. I underestimated the consequences. I thought I was protecting everyone, but I see now that my actions caused pain and mistrust. I leaned back, exhausted but resolute. It ends tonight. I'm freezing the accounts permanently, reclaiming what's mine, and ensuring no one can manipulate these transfers ever again. If anyone tries to touch my money without permission, the law will handle it. My cousin hung his head. I didn't realize. You realized nothing until now, I said sharply. And that's the point. No more lies. No more games. From this moment, transparency, full accountability, or you're out of my life entirely. For the first time in years, the room felt quiet, like the storm had passed, leaving only the raw aftermath of truth. The anger, the betrayal, the tears, they were all there. But now, at least, the lies were exposed. I glanced at my phone one last time. The flag transfer had been stopped. The stolen money was secure. And for the first time in months, I felt a strange sense of relief. Because sometimes, the only way to protect yourself is to confront the people you love and demand the truth, no matter how painful it may be. The following days were a whirlwind. The bank confirmed all unauthorized transfers were blocked, the accounts were secured, and my funds returned to me. I had regained control of my finances, but regaining control of my family was a different story entirely. Grandfather stayed quiet for hours, reflecting, finally approaching me one evening. I mismanaged everything. I thought I was helping, but I failed you. His voice was heavy with regret. I can only hope you forgive me. I studied him carefully, weighing his words. I don't forgive easily, I said slowly. But I appreciate your honesty now. Actions matter more than intentions. Anna avoided my gaze, her shame visible. I never meant to hurt you, she murmured. I was following Grandpa's instructions. I shook my head. Instructions don't excuse betrayal, but I'll give you a chance to make amends. Starting with transparency. You'll help me manage what's yours, honestly, and with full accountability. My cousin was another story. The audacity of his attempted theft left a bitter taste. You're banned from handling any of my finances, I said bluntly. Trust isn't given lightly, and you just destroyed yours. The atmosphere was tense, yet a fragile thread of resolution was forming. We were still family, but the cracks were undeniable. Then, one quiet evening, another call came through. My phone displayed the bank's number again. Heart racing, I answered. Sir, the officer said, voice calm. We discovered something unusual while reviewing your account activity. There's a dormant account linked to your social security number that's been untouched since 2018. The funds, they've grown significantly beyond anything you've seen in the redirected transfers. This account was never accessed by anyone in your family. I felt my stomach drop. How much? Over $500,000, the officer said. It appears to have been invested automatically, and it's all yours. I sank into a chair, stunned. $500,000. Money that was mine all along, untouched by deception, hidden in plain sight. I stared at my family during dinner that night, each of them uneasy, uncertain. It turns out, I said slowly, savoring the irony, that even with all the lies, thefts, and games, life had a way of protecting me. There was always a safety net, one my grandfather never even knew about. Grandfather blinked, astonished. $500,000 all this time? Yes, I replied. And now we rebuild. Not just our finances, but trust. Honesty will be the only currency from here on out. The tension eased slightly. My sister nodded silently, cousin hung his head, and my grandfather simply exhaled, relief and regret mingling in his eyes. I realized then that wealth could create power, but only truth could preserve it. The drama, the betrayal, the bank calls, all of it had brought clarity. And as I looked around the room at my family, fractured but still standing, I knew one thing for certain. Money could divide us, deceive us, and tempt us. But truth, the unvarnished, uncomfortable truth, was the ultimate inheritance. Sometimes, the most shocking revelations aren't about what's stolen, but what's waiting quietly, hidden until the right moment. Tonight, I finally understood that.